Dozens of strikes have followed the one you just saw, killing more than 80 people. Washington's aim is to target alleged drug smuggling after the US called Venezuela's president a drug trafficker and threat to national security. But it was an additional strike on the same boat moments later that is causing alarm. A bombshell Washington Post report has said that Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth ordered the second attack to kill 2 survivors of the first in what is known as a double tap. Lawmakers on both sides are now demanding answers, with some saying it could be a war crime. Both Hegseth and the White House are appearing to shift responsibility for the strike on the military commander overseeing them.
Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated.
Well, Hegseth appearing to throw his support behind Admiral Mitch Bradley, saying, "I stand by him and the combat decisions he has made on the September the 2nd mission and all others since." I'm going to come back to that. Our next guest is echoing concerns about that follow-up strike, or that double tap, being a potential crime against humanity. The founding chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Luis Moreno Ocampo, told BBC News, quote, "These are criminals, not soldiers. Criminals are civilians. They are criminals, and we should do better at investigating them, prosecuting them and controlling them, but not killing people," he said. And Luis Moreno Ocampo joins me now. It's good to have you, sir. There are so many layers here. I want to start with the big picture of this broad campaign by the US against these drug boats, alleged drug boats. The Trump administration declared the cartel Tren del Agua as a terrorist organization to justify this, quote, war on drugs as a war on terror. Is there any legal merit to the argument that these are terrorists and this is a, quote, war?
Well, it's highly disputed. It's not outside the US. All the American military lawyers are against this idea. It's very clear. These are criminals, but they are not combatants. That's why they should be prosecuted, they could be arrested, but killing people with no trial, that is illegal.
Well, let's focus on that September the 2nd double tap strike. What is your reaction to the US move to then kill the 2 survivors of the first?
Well, the first reaction is the first killing is also illegal, because if they are not combatants and they are civilians, they cannot be killed. Assuming President Trump is right, assuming he has the right to kill drug dealers, the second shooting look illegal in terms of as a war crime. It's a war crime. Why? Because these people are defenseless. They are not more a threat to US. The boat was destroyed. They were almost surviving there. You could, in normal war operation, you cannot kill them. And that's why it's against the basic rules the US legal military lawyers are saying.
So you're suggesting this could be a war, you're not suggesting that this would be a war crime, because you don't see this as a legally valid war to begin with, but you say this could be a crime against humanity. Am I correct in saying that?
Exactly. Because if they are criminals, a systematic attack against civilians, and criminals are civilians, is a crime against humanity. Imagine alternative. If this is a war, the second shooting is also illegal. The problem I see in this case is the generals, the admirals, cannot oppose Mr. the Secretary of Defense. So that's the problem in the US now. There is no check and balance. No military officer would oppose the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War now. Order, instructions. That's the problem. No one can stop them.
So it is worth noting that the ICC, which of course you are a founding a member of, has no jurisdiction over the United States. So in reaction to your comments calling this US campaign a crime against humanity, the White House has accused the ICC of being a biased, unserious entity and said, quote, it's ridiculous that they are now lecturing President Trump and running cover for evil narco-terrorists trying to murder Americans. Your response?
Well, the International Criminal Court is part of Venezuela and Colombia. So if the shootings are part of the Sea of Colombia or Sea of Venezuela, the ICC could have jurisdiction. If not, no. So probably the most clear jurisdiction here is a US jurisdiction. And maybe one day it will implement it. So we don't know yet. But that's why the army officers are well aware of the problem. That's why I see a huge crisis for the US officers, because they understand it's illegal, but they cannot do a rebellion against the president.
On that double tap strike, Pete Hegseth, the Defense Secretary, who runs now the Department of War, as it is now known, has posted his full support for Admiral Mitch Bradley, who he named as the person who made the decision on September the 2nd. Do you read this apparent sort of full-throated support, as it were, as a way of making someone else responsible in case there are legal repercussions?
Well, first, allegedly, people say that the Secretary of War himself gave instructions, no survivors. So therefore, the admiral was just implementing his order. That's why Secretary of War should defend the admiral, because he gave instructions. So that is the main idea. Of course, Secretary of War will always try to protect himself. And in addition, he will try to protect the officers who are following his instructions. Yes.
We've just learned that President Trump has now formally pardoned the former Honduran president, Juan Orlando Hernandez, and he has been released from prison and will not serve the 45 years that he was originally sentenced to. I wonder what that pardon for major drug trafficking offences says to you about Trump's claim that he is currently cracking down on drugs when he is targeting Venezuela.
Well, it's interesting because, as you know, the worst drug in the US was the opioids. And it was produced by an American lab. So that is, for me, interesting. That's why this is not a world problem. You will not solve the drug abuse in the US shooting people in the boats in the Caribbean. It's ridiculous. It's diverting attention. So that's why I feel everything is wrong here. It's a discussion not going to the center of the problem. The problem is not. Drug abuse in the US will not be stopped killing civilians or people, drug dealers in the Caribbean. In addition, what's happening here is President Trump is trying to remove Maduro, who is a dictator. And that's why it's so complicated the world today. This week, Corina Machado will receive a Nobel Prize for her role during the electoral campaign in Venezuela in 2024. So Corina Machado is in the middle of dictatorship, fighting a dictator. But the only one supporting, trying to remove Maduro is President Trump. That's why it's such a controversial problem.
I just want to finally, and thank you for your thoughts and analysis today, which are extremely important. You are speaking to us from Uruguay today, and I just wonder, as you observe and consider US action in your part of the world, effectively, how impactful or significant you think this American action is, and what its consequences might be in South America?
Well, I'm from the beach. I'm involved in all the conflict in the world, so I'm following all the conflict. In some of them, like Nagorno-Karabakh in Armenia, President Trump is a good influence. So it's very interesting. The world is so complicated. But this Venezuela idea is really bad because when I was young in my country, we prosecuted the generals in Argentina for the dirty war against international terrorism. And this dirty war was promoted by US. When US decided the Latin American military had to deal with international terrorists, create a dirty war in the South. And this idea to use the army, the military, to control drug dealers is creating a similar threat, including wars in South America. South America is a region with no war for decades. And this is including war in a zone with no war, in peace. That's a danger for the region.